Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? It's good to be back for Friday night. I hope you're all well. Yes, TGIF, thank God it's Friday. You may be wondering why you can't replay the video from yesterday, and I'm going to tell you why. I woke up this morning and I had an email in my email that a news agency had copyright struck the entire video. Not part of it, not some of it, not asking me to remove a section of it, which is what normally happens. They struck the entire video and took it down. In 400 videos and over 1,000 hours of live streaming on this platform, I've never had a copyright strike for true crime. I did when we had the Olympics. That was something different, but um, not with true crime. I've never ever had a copyright strike, and it was from the Elijah Vu press conference yesterday. So it wasn't even some sort of video that the news company made. It was a publicly released press conference. Sure, it was probably that they filmed it or whatever, but it was a police press conference. So um not really happy. That's 2 hours of work gone for a 2-minute video. So they took down 2-hour live stream. That wasn't all about Elijah Vu. We did Gregory Lynn and some other things yesterday too, and it's completely gone. I can't get it back. I can't watch it. They just automatically deleted it. I mean, I could appeal it, but the appeal process is insane, including having to give up my full legal name, my address, where I live, my legal representatives, all this type of stuff, and all that to get back my video. And I'm probably not going to do that. I I've emailed the company directly to see if they'll take it down and rescind the strike, explaining that the video wasn't monetized. I wasn't damaging their reputation in any way. I was just showing a press conference, and you know, it's not like I was making millions of dollars off it, profiteering off their work. I didn't make anything off yesterday's video. I didn't turn ads on. It was nothing like that. Um, yeah. Normally they'll ask you to remove a section or mute something like that. But to copyright strike the entire thing is really harsh for like I don't get it. It's crazy how you get your entire video taken down for a couple of minutes. Oh yeah. So that was a nice thing to wake up to this morning. So that's why there's no replay of yesterday. Yeah, I thought so too. I thought you could as long as you didn't as long as it wasn't like an entire 1 hour news segment or something like that. If it's just like a couple of minutes or a press conference, most news agencies are very fair. And then if you do overstep the line, like I said, they just ask that you mute it or something like that, or trim it out. And I'm more than happy to do that. I've done that heaps of times. If you ever go back through my old videos, you'll see that it jumps. It'll jump sometimes, and that's because I've had to trim something out, and I've always complied with requests to do so, and I've never left something up if they've asked for it to be removed. Yeah, it's Yeah, so yes, that's why we don't have a live show from yesterday. Just frustrating, losing an entire live show really affects the channel, and it's like I just didn't do anything yesterday at all. So it de-ranks the channel pretty heavily, because it's like, yeah, I didn't upload anything yesterday. So very frustrating. I don't know. Everyone's gone to TGIF apparently. Everyone's gone to to the bar. Everyone's gone to have fun without us. All right. Well, there's the explanation for that. I've been looking into it all morning, but I don't think there's a whole lot we can do about it, unfortunately. All right. Do want to tell you that Jesse Vang and Katrina Baur were in court today, though. I don't know if I can play you the video because they might copyright strike me. So, but I can show you what happened today. By the way, I'm not going to mention the news company because I'm still hoping they'll work with me, but we'll see. Better not show the video. All right. So Elijah Vu, his mother, and Uncle Jesse, as he liked to be called, Uncle Jesse, were in court today, back in court for these new charges that we read out yesterday that is now lost, unfortunately. They're saying, so it was a pretty brief appearance. I have watched it, and they both appeared before the judge. It's very interesting. Jesse was read out his charges, given a date. He's coming back on Monday, then he's got one in November too. He was given a $500,000 bond for these new charges. And when they brought Katrina in, she tried to argue very briefly, or her representatives did, that because her bond of $15,000 that she's had all year is far too much money, and she hasn't been able to make that bond so far, that she should get a much smaller bond this time. And the judge looked at it. The prosecution was like, "Yeah, these are pretty serious charges. I, it doesn't matter if she can pay it or not. It's got to be based on the totality of the evidence and the charges and how strong the case is." And the judge agreed that even though you have to look at these cases individually and not you can't look at it with the stuff she did earlier this year, it has to be looked at on its own merits. The judge said, well, due to the seriousness of the charges, I'm going to give Katrina a slightly lower bond than Jesse Vang, considering his charges are slightly more severe than hers. And she got $400,000. So I don't think she's getting out of jail anytime soon. If she was unable to pay $15,000 in bond, I don't think she's able to pay $400,000 in bond. But here, this is very interesting down here. So this is Jody Bauer, and this is her, I'm pretty sure this is her sister. Okay. And it says here, I don't know what to say other than you don't know. To anyone that wants to sit and judge myself or my older kids, you don't know the whole story. Oh, this might be her mum. They say you can't imagine how you look at her and still forced to see a daughter or a sister. You can't imagine the pain, the trials we've been through long before this, where she's concerned. You have no idea, even if you touched the tip of that iceberg. Here's what you can know: she's a 32-year-old adult. She is responsible for her own choices and actions. For decades, her life has been a series of bad decisions. This one, the most devastating. I have picked up her pieces time and again, and I've given her chances when many would have walked away. I've been kicked in the head by her at every twist that wasn't all about her. At the core of addiction is self centeredness. I didn't make her an addict. I wrestled with it for years. I don't and never will understand it, and it was a losing battle. It's devastating to us as a family. It's beyond anything we thought she was capable of, although I've seen the worst of her more than once. There is collateral damage in every bad decision that she makes. There is a lack of accountability, a lack of understanding, a lack of acceptance. But who she is, what she's done and said defines her. It does not define my two oldest children. It does not define me. What 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 you say, what you whisper, what you gossip, that defines no one but you. Your actions and reactions are who you are as a person. And again, I'm picking up the pieces. I'm navigating her collateral damage. I'm not trying to understand because I can't fix it, I can't change it. I can't live in a world of would've, could've, should've. At every moment in life, we hopefully make the best decisions we can. We can never predict the future. So if you feel the need to feel angry and hate, that's fine, but direct it at the adult responsible that acted in the situation, the one that made again more bad decisions. So that's her family member basically. Oh, it is her mom. Yeah. Sorry, I thought it was her sister for a second. Um, I don't know if people are attacking her mom. That's not very nice. I don't think the mom's got anything to do with it. She's right. Her daughter is an adult and can make her own decisions. I don't think anyone should be out there giving the family more grief. These details that have come out through the arrest documents and all that, they would be they're hard for us to read and listen to, yet alone to be a direct family member. She must not even know who her own daughter is. She's like, I don't even like know why my daughter would do something like this, right? I can see where she's coming from. So I hope there really aren't people out there just badgering her. She's right. We have to look at the people who committed the acts, and that's Jesse and Katrina, not this lady. Oh, guys, hold on. All right, someone phantom called me apparently. Rachel says, in my book, that would depend on if anyone was fully aware of what's happening and did nothing, but if the family didn't know, leave them alone. Yeah, I agree. Hold on. All right, there we go. Sorry about that. Um, Angela Gayla says, I 100% agree with her. Yeah, I mean, the case itself is, difficult enough to read about, then trying to make any more trauma to these families. I mean, I can't imagine being part of that family and finding out that my daughter sent away her son to have this happen. Hold on. Oh, guys, Mrs. Ping is up my butt. Hold on. Sorry, she's at the chemist and she's like, tell me this, tell me that. Her new phone's playing up where it sends all the messages all at once. So she's she's like, "Why aren't you replying to me?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I just got all these just now." So she's like, She's like, "I'm here already." I'm like, "How are you there? I didn't even, didn't even know you went to the chemist." Alright, hold on, I just gotta do this for her, and then we can get back to it. Alright, there we go. Alright, we can get back to it now. Sorry about that. Yeah, she has in the document we read out yesterday, they call that, victim child number 2. It's dark up there. Rachel says, "Take care of whatever Mrs. Ping needs." She was just asking about what she needed from the chemist, and I was like, "Well, I don't know, whatever you need from the chemist." Alright. So there you go. There's the update. $500,000 bond for Vang, $400,000 cash bond for Katrina. They'll be back in court October 21st. That's Monday. And then I think they're back in November. So we're going to find out more about this, the last moments alive for this poor kid, Elijah. One of the things I heard today in one of the videos was we have to give them the presumption of innocence, and I'm like, yeah, sure, that's the way the legal process works, right? But it's so hard to give them anything due to the details we know. It's awful reading that document that we read out yesterday. You hear of all the stuff that Jesse did to Elijah. It's things like making him pray and repeating phrases over and over again, like "I'm a good boy" and no more bad words. And what else did he say? Something like, I don't know, I don't want to be with uncle no more, and no cold water. And so Jesse would actually like punish him with like cold showers and cold water when he would like soil his nappy. Now, Elijah was 3 years old. I don't have any children, but I would have thought by 3 you would have already started toilet training them at like 2. Is that wrong of me? Like to think that around 2 years old you start teaching them about the potty and how to sort of use it. They may still use nappies and stuff like that, but you sort of start trying to teach them. He's 3 years old and he was still wearing a diaper and was not toilet trained at all. I find that very strange. I mean, some kids learn faster than others and things like that, but it just says to me that Katrina just had no interest in teaching him anything. Yeah, that's what I would have thought too. I would have thought he would have been done by or not done, but just at least started on that journey, whether it took a day or a year or 3 years. So, um yeah, I just find that a bit weird. Abuse would stunt his potty training. Oh, well, I'm not even sure she did it at all. That's what I'm trying to get at. I don't think she'd even started with him. And then Jesse would get upset that he had soiled his nappy too much. And Jesse even says in the interview that he only changed his diaper once a day. I'm pretty sure kids need their diaper changed like 10 times a day, right? Like, I've been at friends' houses that have children and they're like, "Oh, gotta change the diaper again. Oh, gotta change the diaper again. Oh, it's like an hour and a half later, gotta change that diaper again." Um, I don't think like once a day is just it's neglect, right? That's what it seems like to me. And then we found out that Elijah um had been had facial injuries that had been given to him sometime in the weeks preceding his death, and that's hard to hear too. Rachel says, "My son was potty trained at 18 to 20 months, but every child is different. That poor baby." Yeah, it seemed like to me that Elijah was a nuisance to Katrina. Not a child, not a loved one, not the greatest thing that ever happened to her, an annoyance. That's what it seemed like. It's very strange because she treated her other daughter slightly differently, even though apparently they call the second one the one that has autism. I'm not sure of her name. They call her victim child number 2. So are there further charges coming in relation to her other child? But I did notice in some of the documents, it seemed like Katrina had a lot more patience and love for the older child than she did for Elijah. Just seemed like, an annoyance, an inconvenience. She didn't want him. But the older girl who has the autism diagnosis, but she cared about her. She was like, "Oh, she really needs a phone," and, stuff like that. Like, she was more worried about her, and I found that a little weird, but not uncommon in child abuse cases where one child is picked on and one is not. It happens quite frequently. Rachel says, I'm seeing a pattern of women being horrible to their children. They don't like the fathers as well. It could be. It could be that the father of Elijah, some women, not all women, some women, um, hate the dad so much that they see especially if it's a son, they'll see the father in the child, and they'll be mean to the child because they don't like the father. And I've seen that before too. But yeah. Horrible case. I'm glad these charges have finally come. I'm hoping that the paternal side of the family for Elijah can now, and maybe if there's others on the other side, the maternal, I'm hoping they can give Elijah a proper burial and give him a give him a loving ceremony with the people who did actually love him. And I think that would be nice to see, and something good, something positive for him. Not all these terrible details. A day where it is for him, where the whole community, everyone, the people who look for him, the police officers, the detectives, the FBI agents, the volunteers who came out to search in the early days of the investigation, everyone can come out and give this poor kid a uh, uh, a send off, or almost like a party, because it doesn't seem like this kid ever even got a party. It seems like Katrina just didn't care. So I hope they'll do that at some point. Um, all right, there we go. Yeah, like a celebration of life, something that's solely for him. And I would like that. I would like that for him. All right. All right. Yeah, sorry. Mrs. Pink's phone's doing that thing. I don't hear from her for like 5 minutes, and all of a sudden I get 20 text messages. Her new phone's just acting so weird. It's like she sends these messages and they're not coming through, but they get sent all together. No idea why. Um, Nonetheless, it's so sad they didn't have a life here on Earth. 3 very short years, and at least the last part of it that we know about was filled with sadness and just unhappiness and pain. I one of them. What did Jesse say? He goes, "Oh, I tried to be nice to him, and he betrayed me." I mean, something tells me Elijah actually probably was smarter than Jesse Vang. Jesse Vang is the most dim-witted, stupid MFer I've ever listened to in a crime interview or anything. This is a guy who apparently can't ascertain the difference between an adult and a child, and tries to put adult ideas and things that we understand on children, like, oh, he didn't fear me, he respected me. Bro, he's not a gang member. He doesn't know you. Like, he doesn't even understand the concept that you're talking about. And it just shows you the detachment from freaking reality that these two on your screen have. And while I hate Jesse Vang and I go on about him a lot, and he's probably the one who ended up killing Elijah, it starts with Katrina. She's the one that sent him there. So to me, it's her. It's her as well. I mean, they are both co-conspirators in this. They really are. And I hope they get the freaking maximum, both of them. There's something wrong with him. There's something wrong with her. Although I think she's just a bit of a she's just a slave to the D, apparently. Any guy that's willing to give her a bit of D, she's all good for it. And she's like now under their spell, apparently. Because that's that and probably a bit of drugs. That's the image I've got from everything I've read about her. You give her a bit of drugs and a bit of sexual attention, and there you go, you're the greatest person in her mind. Oh, yeah, 100%. Well, she sent him there, saw the abuse that was taking place. He sent her messages, like video messages of what he was doing to Elijah, and she was like, "Oh my god, my baby, he's learning. Oh my god, he's breaking down." What mother gets joy out of seeing her son getting broken down by some strange man who isn't his father? It doesn't matter. It would be anyone. It could be a woman. It could be the president of the US. Anyone. It doesn't matter who it is. But she was all like, "Oh, my baby, look how defeated he looks." That's what is wrong with you? Honestly, what is wrong with you, Katrina? Right, and she told police not to or she told Vang not to tell police about the child lock on the door, because she knew that if they found that, they would know a child wouldn't be able to open it and run out of the house, although something tells me the police were pretty quick onto the whole, "I don't think this child just up and walked out of the home." I think they knew that pretty quick. Yeah, they are both I don't know. They're both a few beers short of a six pack, both of them, for sure. Like, I don't know, they've just fried their brains with drug use or something. But, those messages in the, arrest document are just ridiculous. They're so hard to read too. And you hear, like, how badly Elijah just was trying to make, Vang happy, and he's never happy. You can he's always like, "Oh, he betrayed me, so tomorrow I'm really gonna get him." What do you mean you're really gonna get him? He's a child. What do you mean? He's not one of your gang friends who you're gonna, like, beat up for, stepping on your drug territory or whatever. He's not one of your hoes who you're gonna, like, take across the border or whatever. Yeah. This is from yesterday. This is the document right here. Where is it? Here. So Vang indicated that victim child once still wore diapers, and this morning, Elijah would still be wearing the diaper that Vang had put on him the day before, right before victim child one went to bed. No, Elijah is not potty trained, and he's trying to train him. So you're trying to train him with cold showers and fear and praying and repeating random phrases. I don't think that's how potty training works, Jesse. Yeah, and Vang was asked about toys that Elijah might have had. Vang said Elijah had a set of tools at the apartment, but was not allowed to play with them in the 9 days he was with Vang. Vang again stated that he has to be the bad parent. There's a difference between being the authoritarian, like the person who dishes out punishment or the authority in the relationship, and abuse. And unfortunately, nothing you did, Jesse, was anything close to being a positive role model or, the disciplinarian. You were just abusive. Let's see. So Katrina told police that she tries to put the behavior correction role on Vang. She explained that Vang was the enforcer of the rules in the relationship, and that was the reason she sent Elijah to stay with Vang. Katrina discussed with Jesse that as long as there was no physical harm to the children, she is fine with whatever discipline. And Katrina gave examples of praying, saying, "I'm sorry, Mama," and going over 4 rules that Elijah is supposed to memorize. Oh my God. This one also is concerning to me, and I wonder if that's where maybe some of the other charges will come from. Here, Katrina told Vang in a message that she has forgotten many, many times she has woken to find to find one child or both of them gone. Gone where? Where? Where did they go? Just left? Went on a spaceship? Where did they go, Katrina? I mean, one of them would have been between 1 and 3, and the other one would have been between 5 and 7. So where did they exactly go, and who was with them when you weren't? It worries me. And there was another bit in here that says, when Katrina moved, as soon as she moved, Elijah became scared of men, and that's really troubling. I don't know if that's just Jesse and what he did to Elijah, or she's had other men hanging around Elijah for a period of time to the point where he's scared of men. Because that's not like an overnight thing. That's a thing that happens, over time. And that is worrying that all of a sudden he became very fearful of any men. There's something else there that we don't know about yet for sure. Let's see. And this bit about in the suitcase that Jesse dumped at Goodwill, they found DNA belonging to Elijah, and they found saliva that was belonging to Elijah as well inside of the suitcase. That he spent his final moments in a medium-sized suitcase. I mean, he was probably deceased at the time, but he spent his final moments on this earth in a freaking suitcase. They are evil. There's no other way to describe it except for evil. Yeah, I definitely think she did. Because it's very odd that she would say that to Jesse. If it was Jesse who was the one doing it to Elijah, she wouldn't need to mention it. So it's very odd that she's like, "Oh, ever since I moved, Elijah became very scared of men." Angela says, "Hope they make some friends." Hmm. All right. That's what happened today. I'm not gonna go over it. We went over it yesterday. I do have this. I wanted to show it to you out of the hurricane. I hate seeing this. Apparently, an elderly couple in Central Florida were found dead inside their home in Tiki Village Mobile Park, with police suspecting a generator and carbon monoxide poisoning had killed them. I hate seeing that, and it happens every hurricane. I'm just trying to see if I can find here. Here.
Developing tonight, police say a generator is to blame for the death of an elderly couple in Lake County.
Tavares police say that generator was left inside a shed that's attached to a home and likely caused carbon monoxide poisoning. Fox 35's Kelsey Cairns is live there tonight. So, Kelsey, it happened after the couple lost power during the hurricane.
Yes, that's exactly right. Good evening, John and Luann. We learned that the couple, they survived Hurricane Milton, really didn't have any damage to their home other than power loss. But all of their problems started as soon as they began to use their generator once they lost electricity. Now, Tavares police say they were called to the couple's home after neighbors did not hear from them, nor did they see them for a few days. When police arrived, they found 67-year-old Perry Lantz and 85-year-old Constance Albrecht dead of suspected carbon monoxide poisoning. It's a reminder to everyone about how to operate your generator safely.
How horrible. They made it through the hurricane. They survived. They didn't have power, so they were like, "Hey, we'll use a generator," and they passed away. There's a photo of that generator.
67-year-old Perry.
Can we get a photo of? There we go. It's a 9,500 watt gasoline generator, and it must have put carbon monoxide into their home. They're probably so desperate for power, and they had it in an enclosed area, and it caused them to pass away. Not the story I like to read about. But every single time we have a hurricane, someone does it. You just have to know that anything you pour a fuel into creates a byproduct like an exhaust, right? That exhaust cannot be in a closed area that doesn't have fresh oxygen. It will kill you. And unfortunately, it doesn't matter how many times it's on the news or sorry. Hey Penguin, how are you? Good to see you. Yeah, how horrible these poor older people. What were their names? Central Florida. I heard the last name Perry. Here, let's go to no, that one doesn't like me. Let's go to WKMG, hopefully. Okay. Their names were Perry Lintz, 67, and Constance Albrecht, 85, found dead in the Tiki Village Mobile Park. And they said the two people in a Tavares mobile park were found dead, likely from carbon monoxide poisoning, after they used a generator following Hurricane Milton, according to the police department. They were found dead on Tuesday inside a home along Holly Drive in the mobile park. They said they responded to the mobile home around 1:45 p.m. for a well-being check after receiving a call reporting that the two, believed to be a couple, had not been seen since the storm. The department said detectives learned from neighbors that the two were using a generator after losing power. The generator was inside a shed that was connected to the home, and neighbors said they warned them of the dangers of carbon monoxide poisoning. Police said the victim showed signs of carbon monoxide poisoning, but an official cause of death will be determined by the medical examiner's office. An investigation is ongoing. How very sad. I don't like reading that. It is a horrible story out of the hurricane. Really is. I wanted to bring you a little bit more about Liam, and I'll do that now. There's people that were in the hotel that have come out and said what they saw inside of the hotel leading up to it. So let me grab that.
Were in the lobby, just waiting for some people to arrive, and that's when we had multiple encounters with Liam. Multiple times had come down to the lobby, was causing a disturbance, kept being escorted back up to his room. There was an incident where he was very frustrated and was smashing his laptop in the lobby. And then the final time he came back down, he actually passed out in the lobby of the hotel, started looked like convulsing a little bit, and had to be physically like taken back up to his room. And that was about 5 minutes before the eventual incident that happened. So I was in my hotel room, 2 floors below and directly below, and saw the body fall through. Looking out the window, saw the body fall, and obviously heard the aftermath and could see his body on the ground afterwards. It didn't seem real. You almost had to pinch yourself to understand and process what you were seeing, but it just was an out of body experience, like surreal. And
Did you know it was him straight away?
not so I had a suspicion just based on the state of mind and the condition he was in earlier. Um, I didn't like know for sure, but that was my first thought. One of my um, friends it was in the room right across the hall from him and heard very loud screaming, a lot of just almost primal noises, grunting, screaming coming from the hotel room. Heard an argument with his friend earlier in the day, but during the immediate fall, I didn't hear any noises.
So, so that was from the ITV News or the Sun, and you hear there that it seemed to be going on for a period of time. I also learned that apparently he was kicked out of another hotel for similar behavior, and that he had a friend visiting called Richard, and they're not sure who this Richard is. They're not sure if he's a manager or just a friend, something like that. But apparently there was a friend. Nalana says a 911 call was telling they something him back to the third story with the balcony after he'd been in the hotel lobby. Yeah, they forced him back to his hotel room. Yeah, convulsing. Odd, right? Hey, Scooter, how are you? It is traumatic and tragic. It sounds like his last day on Earth was very chaotic. Chaotic's the word I would use, and it sounds like a lot of people had been concerned for him for a while. I'm just trying to see if we can find the other one. So people have been coming out now and sort of One Direction released a statement yesterday, and I think Cheryl Cole, the mother of his child, released a statement today. Let's go to ABC. They're saying Cheryl Cole lashes out at media reporting of Liam Payne's death as partner Kate Cassidy remembers My Angel. There's a Cheryl there. So it says, in short, Cheryl Cole has lashed out at the abhorrent reports and media exploitation following Liam Payne's death and asked people to remember the pair's 7-year-old son, Bear. They say Payne's former One Direction bandmate, Niall Horan, has also spoken out saying his death just doesn't feel real. And apparently, Payne's father, Jeff, has reportedly landed in Argentina, probably to claim his son's body. They're saying Liam Payne's former partner and mother to his child, Cheryl Cole, has lashed out at abhorrent reports and media exploitation and asked fans to let him rest in peace at last. They're saying Payne 31 suffered multiple traumas and internal and external hemorrhaging after falling from the balcony of his room at the third floor of the Casa Sur Hotel in central Buenos Aires. They're saying his death sparked an outpouring of grief from fans of the boy band, which rocketed to fame as forming as part of a British reality television show in 2010 before splitting up 6 years later. Cole herself was a member of a girl group called Girls Aloud, and she was also an X Factor host. Actually, she was an X Factor host when he was on X Factor, and he was so much younger than she was. Yeah, so this is the photo that she shared of Liam and his son, and that she shared that on her social media. I guess that is a very nice photo. Nana says another Matthew Perry tragedy. It is a little bit. 14, yeah, 14, and she was a little older. She was already a star, being that she was a judge on the show, and he was just trying to make his career ended up having a child with her many years later. All right. So yeah, hearing from that other person, the other resident or customer of the hotel who said they heard grunting and animal-like noises, and it sounded very primal. Things like that. It sounds like he was, I don't know, having a bad reaction to something or just way too plastered. I don't know. It sounds like we might hear later on that there were two Liams, the one who was sober and the one who was under the influence. And the one that's under the influence maybe exaggerated conditions he already had. I think that's probably what we're going to hear about at some point. Yeah, so apparently ITV News out of the UK is saying Cheryl Cole, let's see. Yeah, I'll play this for you.
Some media exploitation during event, adding what is troubling my spirit the most is that one day Baur will have access to the abhorrent reports and media exploitation we have seen in the past 2 days. It is breaking my heart further that I cannot protect him from that in his future. Please give Liam the little dignity he has left in the wake of his death to rest in some peace at last. Tonight, those devoted followers of his music again gathered outside the hotel in Buenos Aires where he died, giving voice to their grief.
I felt the need I need to say goodbye. We never thought that we will meet in this context. We were planning on meeting when the boys came back.
Tonight, music producer Simon Cowell also issued a statement saying, "Liam, I am truly devastated, heartbroken, and I feel empty. I want you to know how much love and respect I have for you. You never forgot the fans. I watched you spending so much time with people who had wanted to meet you. You really cared." The police investigation into what happened is continuing, with investigators trying to establish the precise sequence of events before he fell from this third-floor balcony. Guests who gathered.
Yeah, I've heard they're also wanting to look into what are the procedures of the hotel when something like this happens, and were there what they call a SOP? What were there standard operating procedure followed, or was it deviated from due to his celebrity? And what impact did that have on care for him, or how long it took for emergency services to get to the hotel? So I hear that is one of the angles they are looking at in this type of, investigation. They want to know whether if this was a normal person, would they have just automatically called an ambulance, or would they have also put that particular paying customer back into their hotel room? Because they're saying that is an odd choice for someone who seems to be having a medical issue like having seizures and things like that. Normally you would call them a paramedic or whatever. So, yes, bit strange. Bit strange. Hold on, my lovelies. We're getting a delivery now. Mrs. Ping, what are you doing? That's all right. All right. Yeah, I don't know why they didn't. I think that might be like a celebrity thing where they don't want police because it causes a lot of issues, if that makes sense. They don't want yeah, they don't want to embarrass them or whatever. Dealing with celebrity status, right. Alright, let's see what the video.
For a wedding at the hotel told ITV News what they saw before he died.
There was an incident where he was very frustrated and was smashing his laptop in the lobby. And then the final time he came back down, he actually passed out in the lobby of the hotel.
This is the view from Brett's first floor balcony onto the courtyard below where he saw Liam's body.
It didn't seem real.
For Liam's body.
You know, there's a view like this that came out very shortly after his death was announced. And you see people down in this area holding parasails or umbrellas trying to hide or obscure his body. And I was like, oh, that view is very similar. I hope it wasn't this fella who is doing this interview was the one who filmed it and put it online, because he's been in all the different media actually.
Doug Jones is a friend of Brett's, attending his wedding.
There was a lot of noise throughout the day, starting like middle of the day, a lot of shouting, yelling.
He was staying in a room next to Liam Payne's suite.
Probably between 3 and 4, I heard the door slamming a lot, and it got really bad. Like there must have been people coming and going or whatever. And then lastly, a really, really loud yell, probably somewhere between 4:45 and 5 o'clock on Tuesday. And I was actually getting ready to meet a friend down in the lobby at 5:30, and that's when I came down and I heard all the sirens.
For many of those gathered here, Liam Payne's death is both shattering and incomprehensible. A pop star who had so many fans, taken when they felt he had so much more to offer.
Sorry, Mrs. Ping's picking up our food, like shopping. Get this, I put in an order, and normally they're pretty good. I just got the email just then, and they're saying like I ordered my stuff, and they're like, you ordered 5 of this, and that's like most of the order, and they're like, we supplied 0, and they're like, and we had no substitutions available. We've sent you a refund. So I was like, why did I do an order at all? So you've supplied me with nothing, and wasted my time. I ordered it yesterday at 4 p.m. and then they've had 18 hours to make sure that the stock is there, and they're just like, "Oh yeah, we don't have it." It's like, what the frick? Andrew, Mrs. Ping is handy. Oh, she's already out. She had to go somewhere, so that's why she's helping out. Normally I would go, but we're doing this. Dr. G said he was unconscious before he hit the ground. Jeez, you'd hope so. You'd hope so. His first drug was fame. That's very sad. What have you been up to, Andrew? I hope you've been doing all right. 40 feet up. They said no, like 15 meters. What is that? That's like, yeah. So, yeah, okay, 40 to 50 feet. That's a pretty big drop. I mean, No wonder, you'd be very injured. Living living the life, the good life, living the surfing life. Um, yeah, it always felt like once this group broke up One Direction, not that I thought anyone would die or anything, but it just felt like their fame had got so big and so out of control that even after they broke up, things would unravel somewhat. And that's unfortunately what we've seen now with Liam dying. And I just hope the other ones take this as a reality check that they got famous very, very young. And I hope they understand that you got to be grounded and you got to ask for help when you need it, and that money can't buy you out of everything. That's what I was wondering, yeah, if the others, because like, imagine getting that level of fame at 14 or 15 or 16. Like, you're the biggest boy band since the Backstreet Boys or whatever, NSYNC in the 90s, and you're in a completely different age. Did you know I heard they were the first something to do with social media, like the first big band or boy band for social media uh era. So Instagram, when they first became famous, Instagram wasn't even a thing yet. Instagram hadn't been turned on. So they were like sort of like the first big Instagram musical act type of thing. The others are still working. Yeah, they still got their solo careers. He had the most like, I mean, they made enough money they never have to ever work again, but creativity is not, it's something else. I heard that he had the worst career after leaving the boy band, that his solo career was basically nothing. Like, he crashed and burned, and it wasn't very well received by the public. And basically, he funded it out of his own money, but it never made any cash, or you know, it just sold albums to his fans, but not, it wasn't like a top 40 platinum hit or whatever. All right. Charles and Camilla are in Australia. Are they? I'll have to buy them a beer. Are they really down here? Oh, yeah, they are here. It says they landed yesterday. Charles III and Queen Camilla, that's always sounds weird to say that. Land in Sydney, marking first visit by reigning king to Australia. Good for you. They say he's landed in Australia, and where are they going? They were greeted by the Governor General and the Prime Minister of Australia and the New South Wales Premier. They saying it's their first visit since 2018. His mother, Queen Elizabeth II, became the first reigning monarch to tour the country when she visited in 1954, almost 3 or 4 decades before I was born. They say among those who greeted Charles and Camilla were Governor General Sam Mostyn and Prime Minister Anthony Albanese and New South Wales Premier Chris Minns. They say Camilla was presented with a posy by a 12-year-old Kai, who was living with a serious blood disorder, and requested to meet their majesties through the Make-A-Wish Foundation and his sister Charlotte. A heavy shower just before they arrived sent all the media ducking for cover. Oh, wow, look at this. They lit up the Opera House in photos of them. Check this out. Oh, wait, I have to change page. Check this out. They lit up the Opera House with like old photos of them. That's pretty cool. The things they can do with technology now. That's like probably from a previous visit when he came to Australia. I got no idea, Penguin. Yeah, I think a lot of people said that they were surprised a fall from the third floor would be fatal. I think a lot of people were surprised by that because we've seen babies who have fallen and been able to survive that kind of thing. Oh, okay. Well, where are they going? Are they heading to Melbourne? They say the visit will be a slimmed down 5-day affair, taking into the account the King's ongoing treatment with cancer, with official engagements in Sydney and Canberra before heading off to Samoa on Wednesday for the Commonwealth Head of Government meeting. It's the first visit by a reigning monarch since 2011 when the Queen came here. So they say Charles has visited Australia 16 times, the first taking place in 1966 and the most recent being 2018. So there you go, when he was a young man. That's when he came over before, when he was just a young boy with his mum. Lux says, I've never heard a One Direction song. I had no idea who Liam even was. The only boy band I ever liked, though, is BTS. I don't know who that is. I just know that means behind the scenes, but I don't know what a BTS is. All right, we got one more story. Well, actually, we have a couple more. So let's go to here.
We have learned more about two teenagers who were shot and killed last weekend.
Douglas County Sheriff's deputies discovered the wounded teens at a vehicle along West Stewart Mill Road in Douglasville early Saturday morning. They died from their injuries. Fox 5's Deidre Dukes joins us now live in Douglasville. Deidre, investigators have now asked for the public's help here.
That's right. And as investigators work to determine more about the circumstances surrounding the shooting, we talked to a close family friend of one of the victims who tells us Beatrice Vega was loved by many. Heartbroken family members are grieving the deaths of 17-year-old Beatrice Vega and 19-year-old Roberto De Leon.
She was everything, to her family and for me too, like a coach.
We spoke with Vega's soccer coach by phone. Hugo Pineda is a close family friend. He says the teen was a student at Pebblebrook High School in Cobb County and was well loved.
She was sweet, smart, very nice with everybody. She's responsible.
Nearly a week after the teens were discovered critically wounded in a parking lot along this stretch of road in Douglasville, October 12th. Douglas County Sheriff's deputies were alerted to an Apple iPhone automated crash alert through 911 dispatch at around 3:30 Saturday morning. Responding deputies discovered a car in the middle of the roadway along the 3200 block of West Stewart Mill Road. There was no evidence of a collision. Deputies found Vega and De Leon in the front seat of the car, critically injured from apparent gunshot wounds. Medics transported them to an area hospital where they succumbed to their injuries. Still more questions than answers surrounding the case. The sheriff's office is asking for the public's help, but aren't commenting on the case. Fox 5 obtained a copy of the incident report, which lists it as an active homicide investigation.
An active homicide investigation in Douglas County. 17-year-old Beatrice Vega and 19-year-old Roberto De Leon were found critically injured in a vehicle on October 12. That's very strange, right? They're saying here a double homicide involving the 17 and 19-year-old, and responding to an iPhone collision alert, deputies found no crash but discovered both of the teenagers shot in a car on West Stewart Mill Road. The incident is being actively investigated as a homicide, and yeah, it's interesting. After receiving an alert from an iPhone reporting the user had been in a collision, so someone crashed their vehicle, or they were shot while driving and then crashed the vehicle and ended up somewhere else? I don't know. They're saying both were transported to a local hospital but later died. Their deaths have left more questions than answers. All right, let's have a look. 17-year-old Beatrice Vega. Let's have a look. They're saying the car wasn't damaged, and that's why it's strange. Because, we'd think if it was a crash enough to set off an iPhone, they would at least be damaged to the vehicle, but they're saying no. They're saying 2 teenagers died after they were found suffering from gunshot wounds in a car in Douglasville over the weekend. They were found in a car at 3253 West Stewart Mill Road in the early of Sunday morning. The address corresponds to an overflow parking lot for a nearby Chick-fil-A at the corner of Bill Up and West Stewart Mill Roads. Deputies initially responded to the scene after getting an automated crash alert from one of the teens' iPhones, but found no evidence of a crash. Instead, deputies found them both suffering from gunshot wounds in the front seat of the car. Both were taken to hospital where they died. They say investigators are still working to determine the circumstances around the shooting and are asking for the public's help. Why would it have triggered the phone to go off and then they were found with gunshot wounds? It's a bit odd. Hey Emily, how are you? Okay. Apparently our local supermarket is being lazy. They were supposed to be ready at 1 and it's like 10 past. They still haven't sent us the code to open the locker for Mrs. Ping. So she's just sitting there going, I can't even get our order. Oh, finally. Freaking hell. Lazy. All right, done. Done. Good, thank God. Angela says maybe car came to a sudden stop. I thought maybe they were shot while driving, slammed on the brakes, and then tried to go somewhere to, get away and then parked, and then they died. That's the only thing I can come up with. Do you know what I mean? Like, so they were driving and then they got shot. Something about that interaction and them slamming on the brakes or accelerating maybe set off the iPhone, and then they tried to hide from whoever was shooting at them, and then they were discovered around the corner maybe. Angela says, complain you would get a voucher in the UK. No, they don't do crap for you here. They just go, oh well, it's a free service. What do you want? All right. All right, one more, and then you guys have Trish at 10:30. I don't know what she's up to, but probably going to talk about Delphi today. Actually, let's go to Florida. So today was like the first day in the Boone trial. So let's head to Spectrum News 13. And if it'll load, come on, Spectrum News. They're saying jury hears witnesses in trial of Sarah Boone accused of leaving boyfriend in suitcase to die. They're saying the jury heard witness testimony from Torres' brother as well as Boone's ex-husband, who said that the defendant called him before she called 911 the evening of the victim's death. According to a 2020 arrest affidavit, Boone told Orange County deputies that Torres got into the suitcase when they were playing hide and seek. She said they both had consumed a lot of alcohol and she fell asleep. She said she later found Torres unresponsive and called 911. During opening statements this week, prosecutors argued Boone had a conscious disregard for whether Torres had lived or died, citing videos Boone had recorded on her phone of Torres begging for her to open the suitcase. The initial investigation revealed 2 videos on the suspect's phone that depict Torres telling Boone he can't breathe and pleading for her to let him out of the suitcase. And he says, I can't effing breathe, seriously. And then she says, yeah, that's what you do when you choke me, according to Boone. Well, according to what she replies to him. Investigators say one video shows Torres pushing on the suitcase in an attempt to get out. Sorry. Yes, one video shows Torres pushing on the suitcase in an attempt to get out. I think we've all seen that video. The defendant zipped Jorge Torres in the suitcase and shot it. She was able to do this because at the time of his death, he weighed 103 pounds. She did this with malice intent to punish him, and then when she went up to sleep and left him to take his final breaths on this earth alone, according to the prosecutor William J. They say despite video evidence, the defense claims Boone acted in self-defense, calling it a battered spouse syndrome, saying Torres physically abused her. They say there's no higher calling than to right a wrong, and we're going to ask you to right this wrong and find Sarah not guilty because she was justified in the force that she used to defend herself. Let me know if you think it's justified force to lock someone in a suitcase. I'm not sure. You tell me. What does it say? They say officials say both had a history of violence with each other. However, Boone was also charged in 2018 with battery by strangulation, dating violence. According to a 2018 affidavit, she is expected to testify in the trial later next week. Let's see this video. Oh, you want me to ask later?
We're following a developing story in Cuba tonight where the island is experiencing a blackout, and that's according to the island's energy ministry. In a statement on X, the ministry said, quote, the failure of the Antonio Gutierrez power plant caused the total disconnection of the...
That's not the video we wanted. But apparently there is a Cuba-wide island blackout. I had no idea. I hope they get their power back soon. A island-wide blackout. For what reason? All right, let's look for I'll look for a different video for you. I don't know. I think the video is very damning. It depends on how they form their arguments around the DV and how much they can prove it to the jury.
First up, the state starts to lay out its case in the suitcase murder trial. Sarah Boone is accused of leaving her boyfriend zipped up during a case of hide and seek. Thank you for joining us this afternoon. I'm Michelle Imparato.
And I'm Summer Knowles. After nearly a week's worth of jury selection, trial began today with opening statements and the first round of witnesses for the prosecution. Watch News' Michelle Meredith has been in court all day long and joins us now with a live update. Michelle.
Well, there were a lot of starts and stops today in court, but when opening statements finally happened, we got a glimpse into the troubled lives of this couple. The day started with a smile from Sarah Boone and a wave to friendly faces in the courtroom. After a long delay, opening statements began.
Sarah, shh, is the last thing you will hear the defendant say to Mr. Torres.
Oddly enough, it seemed both sides agreed domestic abuse factored into what happened that night in February 2020.
Sarah, I can't breathe, babe. Seriously.
Yeah, that's when you do and you choke me.
The night Sarah Boone is accused of letting her boyfriend suffocate to death in a suitcase. That suitcase looming in a big cardboard box in court.
That video is hard to watch, the one before where you see him calling out to her and then she says something like, yeah, that's what happens when you strangle me. Now that you know about the DV part of it, does that change your mind about that video? That's what I want to know from people. Does that change anything about it, or do you still think it's she's complicit in his death and it's not being able to be, explained away by being a battered woman syndrome?
The state read part of her conversation with 911.
I don't know what happened. He had blood coming out of his mouth. Don't know if it was an aneurysm.
The state told the jury Sarah Boone killed George Torres not because he was threatening her life at that moment, but because she felt he deserved to die for all the things she allegedly had done to her in the past.
There's two sides to every story.
The kind of abuse Boone's attorney says triggered her that night. Then he told the jury, factor in the alcohol.
Their life centered around alcohol. Both of them suffered from, used to be called alcoholism, now it's called alcohol abuse syndrome.
Yeah, I don't like drunk people, and they were drunk a lot.
One of the first witnesses to take the stand, a neighbor, said he avoided them for that reason.
So sorry, I pronounced his name wrong before. I didn't mean to. Being distracted. Good work, Ping. Very interesting that even this other guy is like, yeah, I didn't like hanging out with them because they were drunk all the time. It doesn't paint a good picture for any relationship, yet alone this one that's ended up in court with one of them dead and one on trial.
And recounted the night of February 23rd, 2020, when he heard something loud tumbling down the couple's staircase.
I remember me and my roommate talking the next day about like we could literally like it shook both of our rooms.
There you go. He heard a loud noise that literally shook their rooms. That could be that suitcase being moved around, or smacking on the ground. Rachel says she also beat his fingers with a bat when he pulled it. Yeah, he tried to push him through the zipper. Yeah. Yeah, only 103 pounds. What is that in kilos? I wonder. He's a very small man, 46 kilos. I mean, I weigh more than that. I mean, it's a very small dude. That's the weight of some females. That's the weight of some ladies. It's a very thin guy. Rachel says, yeah, she also beat him. Yeah, we'll see what happens. I know Excited Utterance is following this, tooth and nail. She is all over it. She's all over the legal side. She knows all the arguments. If you want to keep following that coverage, watch her because she knows way more about it than I do. I mean, I only know bits and pieces, but it is interesting that it's the outcome of this will say a lot. It'll say a lot, I promise. Okay. Someone sent me a video about a missing person, but when I went to look for it, I swear to God that it said that she was located. But I'll check again. Let's go to. Oh no, she's still missing? Okay. Apparently she's still missing. Her name is Jacqueline Perez. She's pregnant and was kidnapped from her home under duress, according to police. She's 21 years old and disappeared last weekend. And they're saying she disappeared on Sunday, October 13, from her home in Auburn, Washington, and she was 6 weeks pregnant. Authorities from the Auburn Police Department say their investigation uncovered credible evidence that Perez was taken from her home under duress, and that they do not consider this a random disappearance. She had recently immigrated to the US with her husband, who is not named in the police statement. She moved here from Guatemala and speaks limited English, according to police. The couple moved to Auburn a few months ago, according to the PD. They say police estimate she disappeared between 6 and 7 p.m. on Sunday, and that her husband reportedly came home 20 minutes after her disappearance. The husband did not report her missing until the following morning. Oh, another one of these. Oh, I didn't know she was missing. Let me report her missing some million hours later. They say Crossley could not comment on what led to the suspicion that Perez was taken against her will from the home. No person of interest has been named as of Friday afternoon, he tells People magazine. They say we're looking at pretty much anyone as a suspect. Police are actively looking for leads from the public. It could be something really small, like you've seen her on a bus. They said even if it's just a glimpse and you don't really know, just give us a call, a general location of where you saw the person, and we can look into it. She's described as 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighs 111 pounds, and has a scar on her left cheek. And this is a photo. This is like the only photo we have of her right there. And that's it. I don't have any other update for her. Let me check one other place for it. I thought that she'd been found, but maybe I'm wrong. All right. Oh, there's a bit better of that photo. There we go. Yeah. So pregnant and missing, and her husband just randomly came home 20 minutes after she went missing. Yeah, that's not suspicious at all. Yeah, that guy must have been very thin, very. I know. I think we're going to find out a lot more on that Sarah Boone trial about George. Rachel's, yeah. Um, if anyone knows of this woman, contact that Auburn, Washington police. They say, despite following multiple leads, police have not located her, and they're urging anyone with information to contact them on the Auburn PD tip line at 253-288-7403. And other than that, I'll check Twitter just to see if that she hasn't been found, but no. No update. They just say that she was led away from her apartment in North Auburn sometime between 6 and 7 p.m. last Sunday, and since then she has not been found or located, and no sightings of her have returned anything that they could use. Hmm. Hold on, guys. I want to check something. Okay. All right. Yeah, I don't have any other update except for people were posting. Yeah, 5 hours ago, 12 hours ago, 18 hours ago, and local news out of the area, Como News posted a little thing on Twitter. I can play it for you.
An investigation is underway for a missing pregnant woman in Auburn. Authorities say 21-year-old Jacqueline Perez was, quote, taken from her home under duress sometime between 6 and 7 p.m. on Sunday. Her husband reported her missing the next day. Police are calling her disappearance suspicious and are now asking for the public's help in finding her.
It could be something really small, like you might have saw her on a bus. It could be a conversation that you overheard when you're out having a cup of coffee in the morning or you're out at work.
Police say Perez and her husband immigrated from Guatemala within the last year and speak limited English. Police describe her as 5 feet 4 inches tall, weighing 111 pounds, with a scar on her left cheek. If you know anything, call 911. This morning, an investigation is underway for a missing pregnant woman in Auburn. Authorities.
There you go. That's the only media I could find on her. A lot of Spanish speakers in the area. Emily says, hope she's just left him or something. Hopefully she's in hiding from him. I hope it's not the husband again either. I hope so. We've had too many of those recently and this year. No, hold on, guys. All right, sorry. I have to get you guys out of here because Trisha's going to be on in a few minutes. So I'm going to get out of here. I don't know if we're going to do a late show today. We'll see. It's been a funny Friday night, and I'm still very annoyed at that copyright strike. So I don't want to push my luck right now. I will see you guys at the next live show. Keep an eye out for the notification. Okay. Yeah, they said they won't say how they know that. So maybe if we get another press conference. I'll see you at the next live show. Hopefully, we don't get more bloody copyright strikes. Good night. Bye.